Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? Ricky Venters and Marlon Madden, and we are back with you for another episode of the Success Journey Show. Marlon, what's good, bro? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, Ricky. You just gave me some behind the scenes update. I know we don't want to kick it out yet, but you just gave us some behind the scenes update of what's going on with the swing trainer and people we've partnered with, and some big names that we've partnered with. And I'm very excited. It's great. Today's show is going to be all about what we do in terms of building, not worrying about stuff, taking chances, taking risks, and just seeing it through. And hey, no decision is a bad decision. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah, dude, those nuggets are huge for me. Moment of like just transparency as you go through a lot of these journeys. You know, sometimes you're going to be faced with so many different situations, so many different scenarios, and not having to worry, not having the no decision is a bad decision. There's learning from it. They just take on different life, right, and different meaning as you're trying to grow as a person, business, things that you're doing at work, all these different things. And it's one of those things where we don't know where you guys are right now, where you're listening from, or, kind of what's going on in your daily life. But just to let you know, man, life is nothing finite about life, right? Meaning there are infinite possibilities, infinite situations, infinite type of ordeals, and there's no journey. And I hope you realize this through all of our things that we've been sharing. There's no journey that's a cookie cutter journey.
No.
Right. And guess what? The joy comes from it not being that way.
Correct. Correct.
The joy is, and we keep saying it so much, is the process. Falling in love with the process, the exciting times, the hard times, the challenging times, all of it is mingled together for that beautiful story at the end, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, the end is when life is done, right?
Yeah.
There's no, I'm 50 now, I'm going to retire. I'm 60, I'm going to retire. I'm going to sit on a beach somewhere. I'm 70 and I'm getting ready. It's done when you lived a full life of, I have contributed, I have been the best person I can be, I have left a mark on this earth, whether it's been business-wise, family-wise, health-wise, whatever it may be, right? You're going to hear some great things today in this episode, and we're really glad that you guys are spending some time with us to hang out with us today. So a lot there, but want to also remind you guys that, hey, we are Hit Doctor, our sponsor, is doing as amazing as it ever could. We are so excited about this product and what it's doing and transforming. And it's crazy, Marlon, because look at our sales, and we made a significant amount of sales, but it's not even like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
it's not the goal that we even set.
Yeah, it's not even a goal that we even set. Knowing where we put the
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Whew. All right. Travelers, we are here for our favorite segment of the show, where weekly Marlon and I talk to a guest, someone from somewhere on the globe, and get an opportunity to sit with them and hear their story, the behind the scenes, things that people may have never seen, or aspects of their life they may have never shared on platforms like this, just to show you their journey, just to show you the ups and downs. And today we have none other than Cindy James. How are you, Cindy? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm feeling great today.
Oh,
Yes,
man, it's an
yes,
honor to
yes,
have
yes.
you on. Honor. Cindy, why don't you start off by just sharing with us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, which is on the eastern seaboard of Canada. So we are a seabound coast, and it very much influences who I am. I find that even when I travel, I need to be next to water. So I'm very much a mermaid. I like to be close to water. I
Nice.
grew up in rural Nova Scotia, so a small fishing village called Digby, Nova Scotia, the scallop fleet capital of the world, as they say. And I had a fabulous childhood, free roaming. We were a bit of the pack was a bit of a wildling group. You know, we were called in when the lights went on at night, and other than that, nobody knew where we were. We were free range. So had a lovely time growing up, experiencing life in a rural community. Lots of safety around us, lots of eyes on us at all times. Again, being the water bunny that I am, I spend most of my time at the local pool. And that informed my career choice in terms of where I went as an adult, which was in the area of recreation. So,
Love
yeah,
it.
early, that's my degree from Acadia University. Is again a small university in the Annapolis Valley. And I have a degree in recreation with a minor in science. Basically, how to play and how to teach others to play. So playfulness has followed me throughout my career. And that doesn't matter what I'm doing at the time, that play has to be part of it. And allowing others to play as well. So I think play forms us a lot in terms of who we are and how we move about the world. And, it helps us find a place in the world, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
my career at Acadia, I worked there after graduation. So inside of a very, an institution, if you will, right? It's very heavy on administration and heavy on rules and regulations. And again, the wildling did okay inside of that, but she was very entrepreneurial. So what I found, being who I was that I was seconded a lot. So they moved me around like a little chess piece to solve problems. So and I didn't recognize it. I mean, on reflection, I can see it, what they were doing. You got a problem to solve. You've got a sticky issue. Throw Cindy in there. She'll get her way through it. Right. And I loved it. I loved that role, which again started to set me up as an entrepreneur quite nicely. And I should go back a bit to Digby because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My parents owned a restaurant.
Tell us about that experience in that type of restaurant, your role and what you saw at the restaurant.
Right. Tough business. Slinging chicken and pizza and making donaires was my mom, I would say, was a very early feminist. She wouldn't have called herself that. They had me late. She had me at 42. And dad was in his 50s. So I was kind of a second family. So I was spoiled rotten. And, got everything I wanted. But I also recognized, again, on reflection, that some Christmases were better than others. It wasn't a steady income coming into your house, right? So I didn't know any different. I mean, I heard of these things called pensions and salaries, and of course I had my own at some point in time, but mom and dad never had those things behind them. So it was very much a lessons of resilience and lots of lessons of again, the problem solving, overcoming challenges, two very strong, I guess, mantras that came from my parents. My dad never worried a stick in his life. Like the man was healthy, lived till 102. Worry was not part of his fabric. So he taught me that not worth it, right? If you've got a problem, solve it. Just don't stew in it. And be kind to people, right? And people will be kind back to you. That was his philosophy through life. So I was raised with that kind of mantra. And with my mom, it was, there are no bad decisions. Make the decision and live with it. Right. So it caused me not to get stagnant in something and fester in it, and just make the decision and go. And if it wasn't, quote, the right one, then, live with those consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Learn from it. Yeah. I love, I'm going to pause you right there, because I love those two concepts, right? Because you said a lot, and I don't want to miss it.
Thank you.
As we keep moving forward. Owning a restaurant, or that's full of worry, right? Like that's like it's so many aspects of that where everything is tied around the restaurant, the food, the logistics, supply chain, all those different things, right? It could be full. And to hear your father have that mindset of don't worry, stress out about it. Yeah, Hakuna Matata. Yeah.
Yes.
And be at that point of where he didn't allow it to affect his physical and mental health, right? So that he can have a long and prosperous life. And then also your mother saying, and I love this, no decision is a bad decision. You learn from it. It's a learning opportunity. And a lot of people make decisions in that finite realm where that decision defines good or bad, right? So it's just like, oh man, that was a bad decision. But if you learn from it, you just gained, right? And take it out. So I just wanted to pause right there, because those are two elements that you said are your makeup, right? Because of what you've seen, to allow you to embrace and move along this journey the way that you have moved on. So I just want to pause right there, acknowledge that, and go ahead. I'll let you keep going from there.
No, and I really appreciate that pause, because they are foundations to who I am. And certainly in the success journey, it informed it along the way many, many times. So it was those were two foundational things that I took away from my parents. And they allowed me to fail. I think that was, a really strong message for me, that failure isn't something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. And I actually call it my best education. It's the school of hard knocks. And I learned so much from failing.
Yeah. Now, what was your, like for me, I'm not a worrisome person.
Yes.
I have that same, I'm like a duck. I just let it roll off my back, right? Let the water roll off my back. That's what I always say. But people that don't worry usually have an outlet. What was your father's outlet, or what's your outlet? I know you say you like the water, but what's your outlet? What was your father's outlet, that when it was time, those stressful times, that he didn't worry, but he used that as a release valve? What was that?
Well, it was boxing. He was in World War II. I know it sounds like a thing to talk about, but he did go through World War II with the Cape Breton Highlanders Regiment. Just a small, spunky guy. We're known on the East Coast that our French are freakishly strong, is what we say.
Yeah.
And he was a little French guy, stood 5'3", and he took on some pretty heavy boxing competitors. So he was scrappy, and he always said, maintain your health. Your health is, without it, you've got nothing. So his outlet was exercise. He took care of himself. He would say fundamental things like, your back and your legs are strong, you're good. Those things drive your heart, they drive your blood, they, very simple concept. So exercise and nature, getting time outside, experiencing what, he was a very religious man, what God has put in front of us, and respect it and learn from, again, those lessons in nature. So I learned those things. So we spent a lot of time on the water. He had a little fishing boat. We would go out and fish. We spent a lot of time, he and I, or myself, by myself with my little poodle, out in the woods, walking, watching, experiencing, watching spring come alive. Those things calm me. They put me in perspective. And the day I was down on the Digby Wharf, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, sitting on the dock, and my feet were in the water, and a small baby whale came up. And close enough that I could touch it. And we had eye contact.
Wow.
And, perspective.
Wow.
Perspective. And that came from nature. And that came from understanding we don't own this planet. So take care of yourself, take care of the planet, and things start to fall in place for you. So those were things my father taught me. My mother was terrified of nature. Frog was in the driveway. It was like, so, she was, she helped me with my strength, my inner strength as a woman. Don't take any crap from no man kind of thing, just you do your thing, you hold your head high, and you walk through that adversity if it's presented to you in whatever flavor that looks like. So she taught me resilience, I guess, and that kind of, again, don't let anybody take you down. Hold yourself high, hold yourself high. Built my confidence as a female. And talk me through some of those things. So she, I guess that would be part of the worry that some people get, are how are people going to look at me? And I never had that.
Yeah.
That's huge. Go ahead, Marlon.
Huge.
No. I'm gonna echo that. What I'm getting from, of course, they say, not saying that your parents are total opposites, but opposites attract. So we understand the yin and yang right there. And then we also see that the simplicity of life sometimes is that's what you have to take it for. We make life more complicated by adding all our stuff to it. And one thing that we add to it that makes it so complicated is caring what people think about us.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When you walk into a room, like when you say, okay, I'm at this company and they have all these problems, and now they're like, hey, Cindy, we need you to come fix this. And is that attributed to how you viewed yourself, or how you didn't care about what people think about you? What has that done for you in your life, that you go through life really saying, what I perceive about myself, that is what's most important?
Right. When I'm asked to solve a problem like that, I think the first thing I do is listen to where the problem has originated, because usually it's not what's in front of you. So listening to people, some one-on-one time with individuals, looking at systems that may be impacting the way people are able to do their job. So finding the best them inside of themselves and allowing that to shine and to contribute to the organization. 'Cause I've met very few individuals who don't want to do the right thing inside of whatever system they found themselves in, and they could be under extreme stress. One of the positions I took at Acadia for 5 years was equity officer. So I was working in harassment, discrimination, a lot of bullying going on inside of workplaces. So ripping that apart really meant I needed to talk to people. And often the systems were supporting the bullying behavior. So the systems had to be rearranged, and people needed to learn that you're not getting the best of that individual with those kinds of behaviors. And some people are just friggin' mean, so they need to go. So those are conversations I had to have too, right? You're not doing well inside of this system. Maybe another one will be better suited to you because you're making people sick with this behavior. So yeah, it's really digging at souls and, and personalities and having really hard conversations at times in that equity side of work, which I lasted 5 years, and that was enough for me because it was heavy. You own some of that. There's no way you can be good at that and not own it.
Yeah.
So I guess if that answered the question, it's people. It's not organizations. It's the people inside them. So really figuring out how can we best pull out the best attributes of an individual so that they can shine inside that organization and achieve the goals, whatever that organization has put in front of them.
Wow. Yeah. Now, as you saw that was like your niche of being in that skill set of being able to like solving problems, right? Being able to, I called it like a builder, where you see something in front of you, all right, I got to build it up and solve this problem, build something, a system or processes, SOP, whatever it may be, in order to solve the problem that's at hand. And then it's time to move on to the next thing. Now, are you the type of person, where you feel you got to that point? It's like, okay, it's built, it's there. All right, I need another problem to solve. And you like that transition and moving around, or can you stay and keep refining and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I like solving the problem, setting up the system. To me, that's defined success. And if it's ticking along, I'm out.
Yes.
Well, I am definitely a builder. And we'll talk probably a little bit about my business and how all of us
go there next.
But the like with equity. So my next step after equity was, okay, these are really deep issues. By the time I got it in my office, it was a big hairy monster. And it was really hard to unravel the monster. And often their best decision was to walk away from the situation, which is not the greatest thing. Although you'd see them 6 months down the road and they're like happy as clams because they made that decision, right? No bad decisions, just make it and live with the consequences. So my next step after equity was to go into change management. So trying to find the solution to the hairy monster before it became a hairy monster was the next system that I wanted to build inside that organization. So working with managers, working with supervisors, working with faculty and management positions. That's a tricky cat right there, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
They're not built to be managers. They're built to be researchers and teachers. They're not managers. So, helping them with skill sets that they needed that they would not have. You don't get that in a lab, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I went from looking at a problem solving from an institutional systematic change. And I found that inside change management, and again, it has to do with people. So, yeah. So, and again, they'd second me into something new, right? Then I build something else. And
exactly. And go from there. Yeah.
Messy resume, I'll tell you.
No, but it speaks to just their entrepreneurial spirit, right? Even being applied in a corporate space, right? And a lot of people don't realize the uniqueness of that in certain individuals, where they may not be a full-time entrepreneur, right, outside, but they carry that same entrepreneurial mindset, that the way they attack problems, the way they try to build things, that vision and all those different things, even if they don't have the vision, but seeing a vision and knowing how to figuring out how to get from A to Z to make sure that vision is fulfilled. I like to coin a word, and I know you have a word here that I love. I want to get to that. Is I call it corporatepreneur, where you're in a corporate setting but have the qualities and the mindset of an entrepreneur, right? But that leads me to the word. And is it silverpreneur? Yeah, silverpreneur. Talk about how you came up with that. Like why did you adopt that as describing yourself? And then let's talk about how those things, all these things. Well, one thing we didn't talk about the dogs, right? We got to talk about the dogs because that's a big part of the puzzle. So maybe let's talk about the dogs first, and then talk about the whole silverpreneur, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Well, silverpreneur is not my word. I don't want to grab it and coin it, but it has to do with a generation of boomers. So I turned 60 in January. I started thank you. Yeah, I spent it in Portugal. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, travel is also a very huge part of what has informed me as well. But the silverpreneur is a whole generation of baby boomers, basically, who are taking the wisdom and their experiences and their skill set into their own ventures. So whether that's a side gig or a full-on bricks and mortar business. So my first bricks and mortar business was a dog daycare. I bought it as an existing business, and I was 53 at the time I bought that. So, typically people are winding down. I'm winding up.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't understand this winding down thing, and this terminology of retirement is such a foreign concept to me. Like, why would I sit back now when I'm at the smartest I've ever been in my life, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. We're gonna talk about that. Yep, we're gonna talk about that. But I'll let you go talk about the dog.
The dogs. So I swear to God, see, there I go swearing. I swear I was a dog in another life. Like I have a connection to these beasts that it's unbelievable. They see me, I see them. I don't know how to explain it. Others comment on it. What have you got? Some magic touch? And I said, no, I think it's some sort of ancient ritual or like instinctual thing that we see each other. So I always had a bond and a love for particularly dogs. I mean, cats are another thing, but the dog is my friend for sure. So opportunity, I had left the corporate world in 2014 and decided maybe I need to travel a little bit. Maybe I need to get out. My poodle had passed away, so I didn't have him anymore. My mom and dad were both gone. My daughter was launched. I was good to go. I was, let's see what I got here. So, and traveling to me informs a whole new piece of the puzzle, right? We don't own any given culture. So to go and experience another culture, and take the best pieces that build me from my was where I wanted to go next. So I did some house sitting, international house sitting. Again, I was then with the dogs again, horses, chickens, cats, and
love animals. Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
any kind of animal. Like let me hang with the animals. Inside of another culture. So France, Panama. I've done some. In Canada, I've moved around quite a bit, doing some sitting, and I loved it. It was great. So I'd simplified my life to the point where really down to 4 Rubbermaid containers, no worldly possessions around me. So I could go. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have anything the traditional things that kind of anchor you. I shed them in around 2014. So Cindy was on the go. And I loved it. So I would go spend all my money, come back, make a little more, go again.
Yeah.
And I love summers in Nova Scotia. I have no desire to be away from this province in the summer months. They're short, sweet, and it's playtime. So I want to be back here for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was mostly winter, fall. I was traveling, but then I came back in the summer of 2016, and I noticed a Facebook ad that a friend of mine had posted, and her son's daughter was selling her business. I'm like, what kind of business would a 22-year-old be selling, right? So I pop it open, and lo and behold, it's a dog daycare. Like, oh, interesting. And dog daycare was only open 3 days a week. It was only small dogs under 30 pounds, and it was a $25,000 business. I'm like, oh my God, it's like Visa money, right? So I bought it again, to buy it, to build it, to sell it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was. I could buy this thing, I could build it out, I can make money on it, fund more of these crazy travels that I'm on.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I secured a loan, and I don't know why they lent me money, because I didn't have any kind of income at the time, but I managed to do it. And off I went. I bought the business. And inside the business was an existing lease. So more problem solving, because my good friend, the landlord, pulled my lease within a year. So I invested everything I had in the business to move it, to renovate a new space. Was, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? So I found the new space. That was a struggle to find. I had 6 months to move this business. I went to my clients. I went to my current clients. They knew me maybe now for a year and a half. And I crowd fundraised $10,000.
From your clients.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the things I think I'd love to talk about right now is those social credits that you build.
Yes. Talk about it. Talk about it. Because a lot of people cannot go back to their clients and say, let me crowdfund so I can keep the business open, so I can keep charging you money. So there had to be some kind of connection. You had to be doing something right. Talk about what you just talked about. That those social credits.
Social credits. I mean, if any advice I can give to anybody is to build your social credits from day one. And I've been really fortunate to be able to do that. Now, with this particular business, the social credit was in the love and care that I had for those animals. So there's no way they wanted to give that Shih Tzu up to anybody else. No way. My business was convenient for them. I met them where they were at. So if you can't pick up your dog at 6:30 and I close at 6, I will stay here with that dog until we can solve that problem for you. You're having a huge medical issue. You need care like now. I'll take the dog. So I solved their problems around their dog care, and around their lifestyle, whatever was going on. And the dog was always in the best hands, right? They could see, the dog was excited to see us. They were excited to come to the daycare. So my social credits were built with the pooch from the clients, right? And what the clients were seeing in terms of the dog's customer service. So when it came to the point where I might have to close this business, nope. What do we need to do to help you move this thing and keep it open so that my dog continues to have this level of care? So that's what we did. We moved it. The tricky part was the city of Halifax would not allow me in the spot that I found without having a retail product inside the business, just because of zoning laws.
Okay.
And my primary business was daycare. Although they were all like Chihuahuas and under 30, little guys, I still needed every square footage I had in order to, to make profit off of that. So I wasn't really keen on giving up space to do leashes and collars and dog food and your traditional kind of pet industry stuff. Yeah. And after talking to my colleagues in the industry, they also said, Cindy, the margins aren't there. You need square footage and you don't have it. So I thought, wow, how am I going to solve this problem?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yep, yeah.
So I left North America and I went looking in Europe.
Wow.
Maybe there's something that someone else does better than North America in this space.
Yeah.
And I found it. I found it in Croatia. And it's Monty's Dog Bar. Big shout out to Monty's because it's an amazing business. Monty's Dog Bar on a beach in Croatia. And Monty's,
Wow.
yeah, they were serving dog beer. Like, what the heck is dog beer? Like, what is this thing? But of course, I like beer too. Now I got dogs and beer. Like, come on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, another element. Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
Dog
contacted them.
beer.
Dog beer. Like, who knew? I contacted them. They sent me a video of it being poured. It just came from the village in mason jars. I'm like, okay, that looks like bone broth to me.
Yeah.
So I got the Instant Pot out and created a bone broth. I put it in a PVC looking beer bottle with my own label on it. Put it in the window. There, Halifax, I've got a retail product.
Wow.
Wow. Dog beer. Wow. Did the dog have to be a certain age before they can consume it?
Yeah. We don't ID them. No.
Wow, that is awesome, man. It's crazy, like you said, in terms of being that person to solve problems. You have to look at life in the world around you differently, right? Because you don't know where the solution to your current problem is going to come from. And as you're in life and you're looking around, you see something like, oh, maybe this or maybe that can help with this, right? So your eyes are always open. Your head is always on the swivel because you're always receptive to just different ideas that can help you build a resource pool for yourself to help solve problems. Now, one aspect I want to share with this, how does, and I'm trying to phrase this the right way so our travelers can really get this. I want to go down the road of, being that type of person where, some people are like, hey, man, I don't want to I need stability. I need to be able to have this. I know I have it for 15 years or 20 years. And I'm looking forward to a pension, right? Like with no one, I don't know how many people get pensions these days, but I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to that. What do you mean just solving a problem here and solving a problem there? Or, even with the business that you have now, the dog daycare, like when you don't see a resolution, like how do you have that fortitude just to keep going? Like I'm not that type of person. I'm not built that way. Talk to that person, because sometimes, and I don't want to, let me just be quiet. I'm going to go answer it myself. Talk to that person that just kind of, and I know they share, like they talk to you in that way. I know people have mentioned those things to you. How do you have those conversations with people like that?
So I have a little side gig I call Gutsy Moves. And it's taking, yeah.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay. I'll let you know, Marla and I, we love this. Okay. Because you are talking to us. Okay. Yes. You guys, I hope you guys hear what she just said, right? She has a business, doggy brewski.
Yeah, dog brewski. Yeah, we need you to explain that. Two things: what Ricky's talking about, and also dog bear. We gotta explain
no, brewski. But then she said she has a side gig, right? I had to pause that real quick. So go ahead, Cindy, talk about that. And
gutsy move. You said
gutsy
right?
Moves.
All
yeah.
Right.
I've got a little website on the go. I've got it's mostly on Facebook. So, and it's mostly women that I hear from, that want to take that one gutsy step. And what I coach them on is what's the most gutsy thing that you can think of right now, and try that. And I don't care if it's a hairdo or it's I'm going to take a year off and travel. but take that one step. So I coach them on the one step, and looking at what do you perceive that one step will, what's your fear around it, and what's your joy around it. And if we can move you towards the joy, you're more likely to take the step. So it's conversations. Again, it's a true coaching, mentoring role. I certainly live it, so they see it. They know I'm not blowing smoke out of my tuchus here. They know I take risk. And they take big ones, and I take small ones, and I talk about what they have done for me. So I think it's just having conversations with folks, being open about when it worked, when it didn't work, what I would have done differently, what I loved about it, those kinds of things. And so people can see themselves in it. And that's Gutsy Moves. It's a very simple side gig. I make no money from it. I only make joy from it by watching individuals take that one step. That's all it is.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, doggy beer. People are like, okay, she said doggy beer. What is fetch? What explain doggy beer.
Okay. So back to Croatia. And Igor in his enterprise now, he's up to 5 locations, including Long Beach, California, which is opening this summer.
Wow.
I couldn't pull it off this year, but at some point I will be his supplier of dog beer. But that's another story.
That's going to be a huge success right there within itself, because he has 5 different, and that's where you got the idea from.
Yes,
so,
I know.
360. Yeah.
It was 360. He came to me. I was so thrilled. I said, it's like talking to Oprah right now. I was so excited. Anyway, so yeah, dog beer. So I sold the dog daycare. I built it to sell it, and I did. I bought it at 25,000 and I sold it at 100,000. So over a period, pretty good turnaround.
How long?
4 years.
4 years.
Yep.
Yep. So built it to a really good enterprise, and then sold it with a good conscience into a good person. So again, those social credits are now hers, and I passed those over to her. So I felt good leaving that business, and then had some startup money for whatever this dog beer thing was. So it started to get 4 legs, I took it to market. I took it into flea markets into farmers markets, and I took it to dog friendly events. And I listened, like, what do you love about it? What are your questions around it? What do I need to do to develop this thing into a viable product? And I was still running the dog daycare at the time, so I had that time to experiment and figure it out, and define what it could be, and if this really was something that was viable. And it turned out that it was. I could sell it as it was. It wasn't a shelf stable product, so I knew I had to get it there. So I started doing some work with an organization called Canada's Smartest Kitchen here on Prince Edward Island. And they do product development with entrepreneurs. They had a bone broth expert on their panel. So they were so excited to work with me on this hybrid product of a dog beer in a 355 milliliter, can of beer, right? So your traditional small can of beer is basically how it ended up. So they stabilized the recipe, and then I went looking for a way to get it in the can. And I found my business partners. So they own my co-packing company in New Brunswick, which is a neighboring province.
Yeah.
When I walked into their office, like a bunny hopped in front of me, and I could hear, there was a cat. So I'm like,
you're in the right place.
You're in love.
Like, am I in the right place?
You're in the right place.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And dog lovers, cat lovers, rescue people, young couple. She's a lawyer. He's a product engineer. And they own a company called Craft Coast Canning, which is canning most of the beverages here in the Atlantic region and into, neighboring provinces as well. So a bit of a force to be reckoned with, a very successful venture. So I would call them my dragons.
Yeah.
They took me on. They funded me to that next level that I needed to grow. They matched my current investment in the business and then gave me access to really stabilize this product in a very professional way and get it in the can, which I think will continue to be my competitive advantage going forward. It's really not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
So Fetch was born, and Crafty Beasts was incorporated in 2020, and off I went to flog dog beer across Canada.
And Molson, I know Molson is still the big beer in Canada, right?
Yeah, we have Olin's. The Olin's family owns Molson's, and there's another one. Labatt's maybe is the other.
Labatt's, yeah. I'm surprised that they didn't approach you yet.
They haven't yet, and I might tell them to pound sand because I want.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be such a pleasant.
I love it.
I don't want to sell to big corporate. I want to, we have a couple of fundamental values built inside this, and going back to this collective experience that I've had in the journey. I built this business around my lifestyle. So I am free to travel, and I built it around some fundamental underpinnings, which are purpose-led. I can't imagine starting a business that hasn't got a purpose built into it. Why would you do that? Because you have so many opportunities with a business to do good in this world. Ours is the health and wellness of the animal priority. Everything that goes in that can, and we know where it comes from. We know it's good ingredients. They're simple. There's no preservatives, no crap, nothing that would hurt the animal. And everything to help the animal is inside that can. So that will never change. And the second thing that we're on a mission of diverting food. So perfect place to put the ugly apples, the bruised carrots, the, squished blueberries. Like, give me your garbage. I will make it into a healthy product for animals.
Wow.
So those are our two mission-led values that will never change inside this business. So to sell it to Labatt's, that won't happen because they won't keep it. They'll try to make it cheap. They'll put some in it, try to sell it for cheaper. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. This is a premier product. It's a humanized product, which is really a trend in the pet industry right now. Humanization of products and a very ingredient conscious consumer. So those millennials are reading labels just like
you're absolutely right.
They want to know. They'll eat all the McDonald's they want, but they will not feed crap to their dog.
Yeah. I'm telling you. They'll stay in a hotel, and go down in price and stay in a lower standard hotel, but they will not put their dogs, as you know, in any kind of daycare. We will even give the owner money to help us keep that.
Yes, they will. They will.
Definitely. Yeah. Prince, no, you're in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, you guys speak French?
Well, some of us do. We're not all raised with French language.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah. Because I know outside, I used to live in Quebec.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I still live in Ville Saint Laurent. So
Nice.
Yeah. So outside of Quebec, I don't think a lot of people don't hold to that French tradition as much as Quebecois, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But it's so funny that I never thought of traveling to, like you said, the Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, all those places over there. Like when we learn about those places, it's like, hey, you guys got to take a little single engine plane to get over to.
And you're like, hell no.
No. But we have I'm telling you, I know we're coming to a close. You have your day is 1 hour ahead of us. But this is such a joy. I knew it was gonna be a fun conversation when I started texting you last night, and the way how you're responding, I was like, man, she's full of energy.
Yeah.
Full of energy. Traveling, what have you learned from just traveling? I know you said a couple, but pinpoint for our listeners and pinpoint for some of those entrepreneurs. What have you learned from traveling? What have you taken away? And where are some of your best places you would recommend for people that like to travel?
Right. I guess again, learning that we don't own a culture, and not one is better than the other. There's beauty in all cultures, and to find that, you need to immerse yourself in the experience. So one of my favorite places that I spent time in was Panama. And the beauty of Panama is because of the canal, so many cultures had to come together to
Correct.
build that thing. Therefore, their makeup is of so many different cultures that, they say I'm Panamanian, but really I'm Japanese and
Jamaican.
I'm Jamaican and I'm
Yep.
Italian, and I'm this beautiful mix of so many cultures and experiences. And that, that's DNA baked somewhat. So you get this different feel. And what I also loved about Panama and what I learned was they never asked their first question to me, and it was well into 2-3 weeks when I was with the Panamanians, that they asked me what I did for a living. They don't care. It's not a fundamental underpinning of who you are.
Yeah.
They want to know about my family. They want to know about my country. They wanted to know how I grew up, what made me, because they didn't see how you make money as the way that you're made. And I loved that about them. The other part that I really enjoyed was their playfulness. So a very playful culture, full of love and joy, and didn't matter what income levels you were sitting at. They could find joy in their day. They party a lot. Like, you get up in the morning, what is going on today, right? Is it religious? Like, what is, the party? Okay. I'm in.
Yeah. I actually had a business partner, colleague. I don't know what to consider him. I have to go to Panama too because of that. He was in the States and he said he was just dying.
Yeah.
And he moved to Panama. He lost, he said, like 75 pounds, that went back healthy. He said the air quality, everything. He said the stress of life. He was living here in the States. He was living in and he was living in I think it was Utah, which is not that, but he moved down to Panama, and he said his standard of living just went, talking about mentally, physically, and everything else just went to a higher level. And so he stayed down there. So now he runs his business from down in Panama. So I have to visit there. And a lot of Jamaicans went to Panama I'm Jamaican, to help build that canal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can find yourself there, inside those cultures that are mixed in. So I absolutely adored that country. I absolutely adored it, and would highly recommend. And everybody thought, and I went by myself, right? So aren't you afraid, right? Right? Of what exactly? Right? What would I be afraid of in Panama? Well, there's violence. Okay, all right. Right?
Yeah.
There's violence right here. There's violence right here. I live in Virginia, and I tell you, sometimes I tell you, these violence that's here.
Shit's scary.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. And So my business now, Crafty Beasts, is it's the accumulation of everything that I've learned.
Yes.
So as a silverpreneur, I wrapped it up in a nice big bow, and I'm enjoying this journey that I'm taking right now. Who knows where it'll end or why it will end, but it's pulled all my wisdom into one spot. And I built the business around myself. And I think that's really good lesson for entrepreneurs too. Be conscious of your lifestyle, be conscious of your values, and build something that's for you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. CraftyBeasts.ca is the website you can go to. Is this sold anywhere else? Can people get it anywhere else? Or where can other places that they can find you to learn even more about your other programming and things of that nature.
Sure. Instagram is very much our favorite spot to hang out. It's driven by our influencers, so it's content that's driven by the consumer. I love that space. We're having a blast inside that. So that's where you'll find our personality hangs out. Facebook, we have more conversations on Facebook. It's a different clientele on there, but a lot more conversations happen on Facebook. Any of those social media channels that you message, you're getting to Cindy. So it's you can have conversations directly with me at any time on those. Yeah.
Love it. Well, travelers, we have come to the end of another amazing show.
Amazing.
Thanks, Cindy, so much for coming, just sharing her journey. It resonated so much with Marlon and myself as we've been journeying in our lives and things that we've come across. And it's just awesome to be able to connect with other awesome people from different areas of the world, help setting not just our perspectives, but also allowing others to see just that, like Marlon and I say, that behind the scenes curtain to what makes Cindy James, what makes Crafty Beasts, right? And so all of our travelers, we want to thank you for joining us. Cindy, want to thank you for coming and spending some time with us today. And we will see everyone next week at the same time, the same place on the Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right. One love.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.